Okay, let's try this again. It's Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. Today's the 20th of March, 2017. Yesterday I made a video about biochar, and I went into a little bit of detail, and I had planned on making several videos because it's not something you can just do in one 10-minute video. Biochar is a very, very, very deep subject. And so I think what I'll do is I'll make a series of them, however many it takes. I don't want to go over 12 minutes though. I made that video yesterday afternoon and I hadn't even posted it, and somebody that I know made an inquiry about it, and then a bunch of people chimed in, and there was some real smart people that chimed in. Peter Hurst, Albert Bates. Albert wrote a book. I've never met him, but I've read his book. Peter Hurst I have met. He's a consultant on biochar and travels all over the place, and real smart guy. They're experts. But what I kind of bring to this is I'm on my 4th retort that I've built. I'm actually just started building another one a couple days ago, number 5. And I've had pretty good success with 3 of them. One of them didn't work. And so I can tell you what I know. I mean, they go into subjects in biochar that I don't know anything about. I know this: I can make it, I can give it to my animals, it makes them healthy, and it also makes my ground very healthy. So I know that. And that's enough for me. I don't need to know all the pHs and all that stuff. That stuff takes care of itself. But I think you should go and listen to those guys because they do know all that stuff. But what I've done here is I've made a drawing. This will be biochar number 2. There's my website, bakersgreenacres.com. This is an expanded photograph. That's not a photograph. Expanded drawing of retort number 4, also known as Triceratops. I've drawn it with 1 stack on it. 1 stack wasn't enough. We wound up having to put 3 stacks on it. That's why it's called Triceratops. All right, I got several parts here. This is a tank, 50 wide, 65. It's about 3/16 mild steel. These represent holes that I've cut, blown them in there with a torch. This is the inner tank. It's 38 by 62. These are pretty standard fuel tanks that you find out in the farm community, all right? And they don't need to be in great shape. You don't want to buy one, you know. On this tank, you can see I've welded on a hoisting hook, and the bottom of it is cut out, about like that. All right, this is the tank where we would load the wood in. And you might say, well, you got it upside down. Well, it's loaded in like this. It's loaded down into here like this. And it sits on the bottom. And it makes a little bit of a seal. This is where we load the wood in. So this would all be full of wood, all pieces of wood. And I'm going to show some of that in a couple of days when we talk about fuel stock and how to handle it. So that's lowered down in there, and then this top is not put on immediately. But before I talk about operation of it, okay, I've loaded this tank in, and then this here is a refractory blanket. Refractory is material that will direct heat back at the source. All right, so like fire bricks are refractory. This blanket here is about this thick when we buy it, and we wrap that around. It'll be right around here, like this. I'm going to dotted line it, so it'll be right there, and then we'll hold that in place with some string or whatever we need to hold it in place. And then this is a sheet metal shroud, and for that we use Delta rib roofing that we have laying around. And we'll take enough of that and put it together with screws, and we can wrap that around the refractory blanket so it will protect that refractory blanket, and you wind up with something that looks sort of like that. Okay? All right, then what we would do from there, if we're, okay, first of all, this tank is about 3/16 For your stack, you can use whatever you want. You just have to create enough draft that you can pull the smoke out of here. All right, let me talk about the operations of this now. Okay, I'm at 5 minutes. All right, let's say that we have filled this with wood. I won't talk about feedstock right now, but it'll have wood in it. You know, it'll be some sort of carbon-based. You can use the question that was asked to me was, does pine work? Yeah, pine works. You're not going to get a do-it-all biochar out of it. You might get something that's suitable for one thing and not as suitable as another thing, but it will make biochar. And it will make quite a light show too when you're burning it off, by the way. Okay, so we've got this full of wood. We've loaded the inner tank down into the retort. Then what we have to do is we have to fill this gap here. Remember, this one's 50 inches, this one's 38, so it leaves me a gap around this barrel. We're going to fill that with kindling wood. So it can be anything, dried branches, it can be the same feedstock that we have in there, just so long as it's nice and dry, right? And we're going to fill it all the way to the bottom, all the way to the bottom, all right? Then we're going to get that burning, and you want it burning all the way around, all the way around. And you can do that with, you know, you could have a sprayer and put a little coal oil in it. I'm making a video. Put a little coal oil in it or kerosene or something like that, and light that off, and it'll start to work down. I save all of our used oil here, you know, from, you know, we change oil in trucks and stuff like that. So I save it all, and I use it to lubricate like sickle bars and things like that. But you can take some of that and you can mix that in a sprayer with kerosene, and then you spray that around the top, and it's fairly clean. It'll all burn off, and it'll get this kindling going, all right? Once that kindling is going all the way around, then you're going to want to drop this down on, okay? I'm at 7 minutes. So then this, it'll be dropped down in place. Now, it's not going to make a perfect seal, but you don't need it to. Now, these circles represent air holes. I've got 3 on top, and you want twice as many on the bottom as you have on the top, okay? I don't know why. This is actually a scaled up of one that I copied that somebody else built. If you go on Google and you put in 5530/30, you'll see a retort that people have made over the years. It's quite small, and you can only get 30 gallons of feedstock in it at a time. So it makes really small batches of char. This one's bigger. Obviously, that's bigger than a 50-gallon drum. Way bigger than a 50 and a 30-gallon drum as well. So, all right, I'm at 8 minutes and 28 seconds. So let's just remove some of this lineage here. And what I'm doing is turning on the X-ray camera. I think maybe you have the idea that I've got refractory that girdles this here. And I've filled this with kindling wood. So the heat from that kindling burning is going to go to the refractory, and it's going to be forced back at the tank that has the feedstock in it, okay? Now this is solid on the top, open on the bottom. So what's going to happen? We don't have any flame touching the wood on the inside. In essence, what we're doing is we're roasting that wood. We're roasting it, all right? And when we get that wood up to a certain temperature, and I'm really not sure what that is. I think it's somewhere around 600 degrees Fahrenheit. When we hit that, this wood is going to start to what they call gas off. It's the process of pyrolysis is what they call it. Read the book. But it's going to start to gas off, and everything that's in that wood that is not carbon is going to start to cook out of it. Okay? I'm at 10 minutes. I'm going to pick this up on the other side. Stand by.